So I want to talk about there being two modes of living. One is from inner locus of control and the other is outer locus of control. And what Neville Goddard, law of assumption, law of attraction, all these master teachers teach is basically living life from subjective experience, from within, inside out. While all of us are victim of living life from outside in. That is, we form our beliefs, our understanding about the world, our self-concept, our standing in the world from getting the stimulation from the outside world, from our five senses and other people's suggestions, and what is Trump doing, what is happening in Russia, what is gonna happen to my job, and all this. It's all outside in. And I say that we are victim to it because we are powerful creators. We were not put into this world to be victims of this world. It was sort of like a school or a game to play, to learn the power of imagination and words, spoken word and imagination. But we became victim because nobody teaches this. Most people are pragmatic, so-called logical, and they look at the world and they orient themselves from the world. And this mode of living is hard, it's difficult, because there are too many variables outside of you. Now, Trump or Putin or whatever could decide to do something today and it could ruin your life and you will not be able to do anything about it. And one of the greatest examples that I talk about, I've talked about several times, is Neville Goddard in World War II. It doesn't get any bigger than that, right? Getting enlisted in a world war, and you could lose your life in World War, and Neville was enlisted in it, but he did not want to have any part in it. But if he was a person who was non-spiritual and he was living life from outside in, he would say that this is war, I can't do anything, they need every man they can get, and I will die here, or I need to survive here somehow, I need to serve my time here, and there's nothing I can do. But what he did, he was a spiritual man. He was a believer of living life subjectively from within, from inside out. And so he imagined sleeping in his own apartment in New York and holding this intention that my daughter is sleeping in the house too, and my wife, and I'm sleeping. Basically, he slept in his own apartment, even though physically he was sleeping in the barracks. Well, how illogical or so-called delusional is that? And it's a world war. And initially he applied with application, and his superior rejected his application. Of course, that's the world of the Caesar. That's this world that we called real. We proclaim it so many times. It's so real. But Neville believed to not credit this reality to be real. And he realized that imagination is the only reality. And the more you apply the law, the more you realize that that is true, because imagination impacts this world and changes it. And again, the great example, his superior, Neville, received in a dream a voice when he was sleeping in the barracks that which I have done, do nothing. And he saw his application where it was written rejected, and it was crossed by somebody, supposedly God, in his dream, and was written accepted. And within 7 days, all of a sudden, well, it is all of a sudden, when somebody rejects you and accepts you after 7 days, it's weird. Why? But his superior decided to honorably discharge Neville. And if Neville was a man of the world, living outside in, he would give up, right? It doesn't get any bigger than a world war. So the point is, we have to decide, and most of us are deeply wounded by the world. We are victim of this world when we come to law of assumption, because we are sick of being subject to the world. The objective world seems cruel, and it seems to take the best of us. And we don't know what to do. We pray to our external gods, we do whatever we can. Physically, we stretch our physicality to the limits. We work hard, we don't get any money, we get fired. So many things can happen. And then we realize that this is not working. And then we stumble upon law of assumption, law of attraction, or whatever, esoteric teachings. And that is the time when we realize subjective way of living. And we realize that there are two versions. There is a dichotomy within every man. The spiritual man and the natural man, or the inner man and the outer man. The outer man is physical, he's subject to the world, while the inner man is the spiritual man, who is not subject to the world, who is out of this world. As Neville Goddard wrote a book, Out of This World, Thinking Fourth Dimensionally, which is all about spiritual vision and fourth dimension, which is just the higher dimension, the spiritual world, from which this world is being translated. So this world is a reflection of something bigger. So the point is, everybody who comes to law of assumption, law of attraction, wants freedom and wants to be free from the tyranny of the second cause, which is we want to be free from the limitations of the world that it imposes upon us. And then we realize imagination has something to do with it. And then voila, we change our assumptions, we imagine things deliberately, and life changes. And this is a great example where I'm standing. I always imagined that I would live in a cold country where it would be snowy. For some reason, I have a great appreciation for cold. And even though my wife is Russian, usually she feels cold than me, and she's like, oh, why don't you feel like so cold, and why are you so okay with it? And I don't know, but I have this infatuation, and ever since I was a child I thought to live in something like this. Then I have shared so many manifestations on my channel that I have done or achieved or manifested with the grace and help, or not grace but by the will of the all, or the inner man. And for the past 3 to 4 years, I discovered law of assumption 4 or 5 years ago, and really change began to happen after 1 year of learning, and when I really decided to apply it. And my life has completely transformed, and I was exhausted. Oh, this does not look good. I was exhausted by the world. I was working at a job which I should be good at, but I was failing at it because of my mental state. I was not in a good mental state, and there were so many things that weren't working, even though I was giving my more than 100%. And I was like, why is the world out to get me? It doesn't make sense. And eventually I found out Neville Goddard, and he made me realize how bad my mental conditioning was, or how bad my assumptions were, and how I was beating myself up because I was taking all my suggestions from the outside world. And the outside world is pretty nasty. Well, not all the time, but at that time it was pretty nasty. And I was like, I was living a very so-called normal life like everybody else, and so the normal things didn't work. The logic was failing. I was like, what the hell is this? And I got fed up. found out law of assumption. At first I was like, it sounds too woo woo and I don't know what it is, and it seems illogical. But as Abdullah, the teacher of Neville Goddard, said to him, that once you will apply the law of assumption and you will succeed, you will become normal. Because the fundamental reality is imagination, and so that is normal. But people think that living objectively and realistically, so-called, is the normal way of living. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not here to judge that sort of living. What I'm here to say is it's hard. I was there, and the more easy way of living is by trusting the inner man and realizing that consciousness and imagination causes reality to change. And all this to say is that it was a decision for me. I decided firmly that I will apply the law of assumption in my life. I will change my inner talking. I will begin to think differently. And as I recently, my previous video, I said that Neville Goddard said that the poor man, the rich man, the beggar man, the thief are not different minds. They are different arrangement of the same mind. So if you change the way you think and the way you assume, reality will shift and you will be astonished. It may take a few years, because when you undo your previous conditioning, life changes. First it seems slow, but all of a sudden it floods. After a few years it comes like a flood, and so many things change, so many things start moving, and you're like, wow, this thing really works. So it's a decision, and I encourage everybody to begin to apply the law, like really strictly, or like more of, it's a decision, right? That from this day on I will assume all that I want, and I will assume the good, and I will not entertain limiting things or beliefs. And you just keep on doing it, and it becomes your lifestyle. And after a while your world changes so much that you can't even relate to the old man, the man that you buried somewhere and you forgot about it. So I seriously cannot relate to 3-4 years ago, the way I used to think. I'm a completely different man. So the point is that to live an easy life, which is difficult for the mind, but it's easy for your physical life, because your life becomes easier. It's mental, controlling your inner talk, deciding that you will live from inside out and not outside in, and you will cause reality into being, rather than be caused by reality to live a limiting life. So I guess this is it for this video, and I have an announcement to make. I've decided to open up membership channel on YouTube, because I've been getting a lot of requests and questions, and people asking me, do I do one-on-one coaching? And I don't really, time is limiting. I don't have that much time. So I've decided to do live Q&A sessions on the membership channel, where I will do it every Saturday. I will put the time somewhere there, and you can ask me questions and I will answer them live. And somewhere along the line, maybe I will figure out a way to do Zoom calls on that membership channel, where you guys we can talk together, have a deeper understanding and discussions about law of assumption, have a mastermind sort of, and we can all hang out. Of course, you will be supporting the channel as well, and if it goes well, maybe I will have more time to do YouTube even better and with more, maybe full time. And you will have all the live streams will be there. You can ask me questions on the live stream, or I will create another form or something where you can ask your question and I will answer on the stream, and the streams will be available all the time, and you can go watch your answer anytime you want. So I guess this is it for this video. Until next time, bye.